I'm Costa Maragos. It is great to have you with us. We're on every Thursday on Facebook Live at 7 o'clock Saskatchewan time, and each Friday at noon on all Access TV stations across Saskatchewan. Among the interviews we're having for you here today, how do you feel about the way your government has handled the pandemic, whether it's in Saskatchewan or elsewhere in Canada, or about the federal government? A fascinating poll has just come out with some unique insights, and you may be surprised at how some prairie people feel about the way the government's been handling the pandemic. That's coming up a little bit later on. And speaking of the pandemic, with the province reopening, for lack of a better term, you'd think that people in the tourism industry would be excited. Well, they're excited about the reopening, but they're still very concerned about what the future holds for that industry. I'll be connecting with the CEO of Tourism Saskatoon, Steph Clovechok. But coming up next, she is a physiotherapist in Regina, and she has a loyal following here, but an even greater following online. I connect with Kristi Block, and how is it that she's amassed more than 125,000 followers on Instagram? That's coming up next. This is In Real Time. I'm Costa Maragos. Thanks for being with us. Well, we are about to introduce you what might be Saskatchewan's most famous physiotherapist. Kristi Block of Regina has segments on Instagram that have attracted more than 125,000 followers, and it's growing a lot. Let's take a look. There you have it, Kristi Block of Regina and her Instagram page. Kristi is a physiotherapist at Regina's Stapleford Health and Rehab Center, and she joins us from Regina. Hi, Kristi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for joining us. And I'm a big fan. I've been watching some of those Instagram posts. What got you thinking of doing this?
When COVID first happened, I had a few people reaching out for help, and I thought, well, why not make it accessible to everybody? A trip to Uganda 2 years ago also kind of helped me learn about the importance of education. And so when COVID happened, it just seemed like the best time to do it.
Wait a minute, you were in Uganda, and that was sort of a transformative time for you. Something came to you. What exactly happened there?
So there was this moment, a mother brought her son, and she thought that he had a disability. And they were hoping to put him in a wheelchair, and we discovered that he didn't have any condition and that he was just very weak. So we were able to spend that time educating them that she needs to stop carrying him everywhere and let him develop the strength in his body so that he can walk on his own. And at that moment, it just really impacted me and made me realize that spending just 20 minutes with someone can really impact another's life. And it just made me think differently about physiotherapy.
So how did you take the leap from that aha moment in Uganda to starting this Instagram page with all these exercises?
You know, I don't know what it was initially that I just kind of went for it. I think it was a lot of, I don't know, it was just a moment in my life where I wanted to make an impact, and I felt like what I was currently doing, it was making an impact, but not at a greater scale. So, and I love being on social media. I mean, it is kind of a trending thing, and it makes it a lot of fun too. But the thing that just really helped me take that leap was knowing that it's going to help more people than just one at a time. Well, hopefully.
And how did you know that this was working? What told you that?
A lot of people have been reaching out and messaging. They're so thankful, and that they just feel so blessed to have come across the page, and that they're so excited that they can learn that they can get treatment, and that there are ways to improve their health. And so I've just gotten a lot of positive feedback. It's been an amazing experience.
Well, give us a sense of some of the things you do. I mean, we showed one little segment there, but what are some of the things you do on your page?
I mean, it depends what you're looking at. If you look at my day-to-day stories, it can be anything from just motivating you to hop on your bike and bike to work to eating nutritious foods. My posts are mostly kind of silly, but they are very simplified. So if you're just someone who doesn't normally get active, they're really easy to follow. It can be anything from low back pain to neck pain to even toe pain. So kind of ranges from all body regions.
And how do you feel about the response that you're getting with more than 100, now it's about 127,000 Instagram followers? What do you make of that?
It guides me a bit. It helps me realize that there are people out there that they find this helpful. I feel like this is just the beginning. The more people that we have, maybe the more people we can help. So I feel really blessed, and I'm really excited. Yeah.
Now, when you go to this extent, the great lengths to put yourself out there, and then suddenly you strike a chord with a big audience, I mean, it's pretty positive, right? You're making a difference. What's the other side of that?
The other side is people question if it's going to detract people from in-person physio. Maybe they will do something and people didn't read it fully. In my opinion, I think actually it's the opposite. I've found that it's bringing more people into clinic, and that people are just becoming more aware of their situation. It's giving them power over their health.
Now, tell me something, Kristi. It's certainly, you have a lot of great motivational kind of messages that you put out there on your page, which is great. What about the thought that maybe these exercises are oversimplified? Like, what's the possibility of it doing more harm than good when you do that?
By oversimplifying, I think there's a larger audience that need it simplified, and it just kind of gets people their foot in the door. But then if it is oversimplified for the people who feel it's too simple, maybe it's a great kind of way for them to know that they are on the right track in their own journey.
Well, they are wonderful. I have to say, let's get positive here for a second, because they're just wonderfully produced. They look great, you sound great, and you're so enthusiastic. How much time do you have to put into this?
You know what? It's I honestly, when I first went into this, there was no goal of like trying to monetize it or to take it anywhere. I was just honestly wanting to give back, and I had no idea the amount of time. It can be anywhere from, and this is on the shorter range, an hour to several hours, like a full-time job, essentially. So, yeah, what's been encouraging is the feedback I've gotten from Stapleford. Actually, everyone has been so supportive. They think it's been great for others to learn about what physiotherapists do. But I did recently go part-time to help try to put more into the page, or as equal.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to put those social media posts on an ongoing basis together, that's for sure. And they have a celebrity now at Stapleford, come on. A lot of people know who you are.
Oh, no, not
no,
me. I thought you were going to say like a pet.
Yeah, no. And what's ahead for you now? Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say, Kristi?
Oh, I don't feel like I've changed or anything. I just think that, I don't know, I hope that it just brings awareness to everyone, like to all physiotherapists and any healthcare providers. That's really my goal. It's just that now we can use social media for good. Not that it wasn't before, but my connotation before was that social media can be primarily bad. And now it's actually very exciting. I feel like we can use it for good. Well,
people can see you at reach.rehab. You gave us a hint there. You're working fewer hours at the Stapleford clinic, so you can devote more time to social media. So what is down the road for you?
Ooh, you're asking me a tough question. I mean, I would love to do some sort of courses or some sort of setup where it is a give up. I don't want to give away too much, but I want to provide some sort of educational courses, but on a give back experience. So for example, if you were to pay for a course or pay for a program, that some of those proceeds will go to a charity. That would be my dream.
Fantastic. We'll be looking for that, Kristi. Congratulations on your success, and make sure you check out Kristi Block. It's a great channel, well worth your time. All the best and continued success.
Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
You're watching In Real Time. I'm Costa Maragos. It's great to have you with us. Well, this province is seemingly at least gearing up to getting back to normal in what we could refer to as a post-pandemic world. But one of the hardest hit areas of the economy during this pandemic has been tourism. Now, one woman has the job of trying to help navigate her city into a brighter tourist future, and that is Steph Clovechok, CEO of Saskatoon Tourism. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Costa. Great to see you.
It's great to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us. As things begin to reopen, as they appear to be, what does this mean for your industry?
It's opportunity and it's possibility, Costa. It is an opportunity to be reintroducing people to Saskatchewan and to the remarkable experiences that we have here in Saskatchewan, and primarily for us, Saskatoon, of course. But it is also an opportunity to demonstrate our leadership to the country and to the rest of the world. So while we reopen, there's lots of opportunity for our community to get out again and have our own experiences, but the world is really watching what Saskatchewan's doing right now.
Oh, what do you mean the world is watching? How do you know that?
Oh, Tourism Saskatoon works with clients from international markets like the UK, Germany, Japan, the United States are our primary core markets. And so we're in contact with our clients and our partners in those markets consistently throughout the week, every week. And so what they're really hearing in those spaces is that, people are really dreaming about travel right now. And so when they think about a Canadian destination, Saskatoon is really coming up at the top of everyone's lists right now, first and foremost, because we have these incredible experiences to offer people and immerse them in our destinations, but also because we are being seen as a destination that's really handled the pandemic well, and one that has really given to the opportunity to restart our visitor economy.
Well, that's encouraging to hear, Steph. I would like to go back just a little bit, just to give a sense of what this pandemic, what impact has it had? If you think of the darkest days, what it's had on your sector.
Well, interestingly, Costa, as we celebrate the reopening and thank the provincial government for their leadership there, the darkest days for us are still ahead. And that's very much the impact that our hotel partners are feeling, the attraction partners, the food and beverage partners that we have here on the ground, and of course, Tourism Saskatoon. Tourism Saskatoon is primarily funded by hotel room night revenue. And so when we have nobody staying in our hotels, that's very, very challenging for us to even keep our doors open and to maintain connection with potential travelers from around the world. And so those darkest days are still ahead of us here, especially in the urban center. And that's something that people may not be considering, is that urban centers aren't necessarily at the top of everyone's list to travel to in the summer months. People are thinking about the lakes. People are thinking about rural areas where they can get out and explore nature. And that's why we are working really, really hard right now to encourage people to think of the urban center for the destination of choice and to invest in tourism experiences here in Saskatoon, knowing that we really do need it right now.
Well, Steph, can you give us the pitch then? What is this urban tourist adventure that we can enjoy in Saskatoon?
Well, thanks, Costa. I think that that's actually something that I feel so proud to talk about. And when we're talking to clients from around the world, it is so easy for me to speak about the value of tourism and value of Saskatoon as a tourism destination here in Canada. And so what I mean by that is that we are a city on the edge of nature. When it comes to our hotel experiences, Saskatoon, we have 23 partners here that are our tourism partners that are offering incredible hospitality experiences, clean hotel experiences. And then, of course, once you're out into the community, Saskatoon is one of Canada's top culinary tourism destinations. So you can go and have a farm-to-table supper out at Farm 140 just west of the city, or you can have that kind of an experience right here at home in the city. Wanaskew Heritage Park is launching so many incredible experiences this summer to immerse our residents and our travelers. We've got new partners who are launching new guided stand-up paddleboard experiences on the South Saskatchewan River. Of course, the tried and true things like the Prairie Lily, and also our partners out at Whitecap Dakota First Nation. The new Whitecap Dakota Resort opened last October. It is such an amazing, amazing place out there. And I think further to that, Meewasin Valley Authority is really ramping up some brand new experiences, which is super cool. Some guided hiking experiences, guided interpretive experiences along the 80 kilometers of urban pathway that we have here in Saskatoon. And then, of course, the Remy Modern. I think that, many of our residents have not immersed themselves in that experience. And that is something that is drawing worldwide attention right now.
There's a lot of bright spots there to this dark future that you talk about. I've been reading a lot about, well, a little. I mean, you're an expert in this, not me, but a lot about how tourism has to reimagine itself, the tourism industry, or do something different from what it was pre-pandemic. What exactly would we mean by that as it would relate to Saskatoon?
That's something I'm really grateful that you bring that up, because I think a return to normal that we once knew is not something that any of us who are working in this sector can even imagine. And so reimagining what a visitor experience looked like really calls on us to first and foremost think about our city and think about our own people. What is bringing value to our own community? And then we work from there. So if our community is vibrant and our community is thriving and flourishing because we have this vibrant tourism sector, then we know a visitor is going to have that experience as well. And something interesting that we're hearing from our international clients is that people will not travel unless they see sustainability or regeneration. And so if we are going to be a competitive destination to the rest of the world, we are going to have to keep integrating sustainable and regenerative practices into everything that we do here in Saskatoon. And we already do that by the nature of who we are here in Saskatchewan.
Steph, you and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. It'd be great to see jobs come back, hotels thriving again. I mean, that's all great for the economy, but surely there's a segment of the population that even now feels a little uneasy about having a lot of people from out of country coming, given the concerns over COVID. How do you address that in the tourism sector?
That's a great question. And, first and foremost, what we're doing to address that is continuing to create opportunities for our residents to connect with us. And so we've been distributing resident sentiment surveys and asking very pointed questions about how our residents here in Saskatoon feel about the tourism sector as a whole, but also how they feel about the return to visitation. And I think what we're hearing is that there is a high level of confidence that if we as Saskatchewanians continue to commit ourselves to being vaccinated and receiving our second shot, that we will be very insulated from any potential risks. And so that is our major message to everyone right now. We've done an incredible job as a province to get those vaccines in everyone's arms, but to continue to do that, because it not only allows us to open our economy back up, but it allows us to safely receive travelers from other destinations as well.
Wow, there are a lot of reasons to visit Saskatoon, that's for sure. Steph, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, and all the best looking down the road.
Thank you so much, Costa.
Bye-bye.
I want to put together a fundraiser for my community. How do I start? Where do I find speakers? And some type of direction?
You need to contact the people at EMJ Marketing. Joe and Laura are the best.
EMJ, huh? Do they?
They do have a lot of experience with all kinds of events. Their team will work with you every step of the way.
Who do they work with?
EMJ represents so many great keynote speakers to entertain and focus on a wide range of topics. Here's just a few: Rod Peterson, Jim Hobson, Amber Bulkin.
Wow, sounds like EMJ really know what they're doing.
Contact bookings at emjmarketing.com or visit emjmarketing.com.
Thanks. EMJ Marketing is just what I need.
Need help with fundraisers, special events, business keynotes, and more? Contact EMJ Marketing. We provide the right people for your event.
You're watching in real time on Facebook and on Access TV stations right across Saskatchewan. I'm Costa Maragos. I have a question for you. How do you feel about the way the government has handled the pandemic, whether it's the provincial government or the federal government? Certainly, the handling of the pandemic and this COVID-19 crisis has sparked some pretty intense debates about the role government should be playing in the handling of this crisis, whether it's the province or Ottawa or both together or separately. It certainly speaks to what the state of the division of powers are in Canada thanks to that virus. Well, a national survey recently released in the country shows Canadians are divided in some areas but unified in others. Now, taking part in that study and handling it amongst other people were members of the Johnson-Shoyama Graduate School of Public Policy at the University of Saskatchewan and the University of Regina. Joining me is Haizhen, a professor and graduate chair of the Johnson-Shoyama Graduate School of Public Policy. Hello, Haizhen, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and thanks for taking part in this. I find this survey so interesting because it certainly has sparked some debate about government role in the handling of the pandemic. What generally is this survey telling us about Canadians' views on this?
So the surveys, it's timely because it's right, at this moment, which allows people to reflect on their experience and their observation of how government handled the pandemic, right? I think in general, the Canadians are pretty happy about how the government handled the pandemic. Of course, there are some division opinions, and those opinions are more or less kind of the way of thinking is along the partisan line between left and the right.
That's interesting.
So,
well, I'm just go ahead, carry on, Haizhen.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
I'm just wondering. The first part you say there seems to generally happy about the way governments have handled the pandemic. What exactly do you mean by that?
I mean, they are happy about government took action to implement public health measures like lockdowns, and also about the physical relief, kind of income subsidy, those relief package, those overall kind of a pandemic response package, policy package. It's a pretty, I think the Canadians perceive this package pretty effective. So my observation is based on not only the survey and also my interviews with about 60 policymakers and informed kind of experts on this matter. I think the media, you can see from media as well, right?
Oh, for sure. And there were, I think, over 5,000 people surveyed as well. So it's pretty comprehensive. I want to ask you, though, about, you talked right off the beginning as well about the views of Canadians and how they see the government's response to the pandemic. It falls along party lines. Now, what do you mean by that? I'm intrigued with that.
I think Canadians are generally very happy about how the government handled the pandemic, but about the role of government. Does this mean we will have a larger government in the future, a more active government in the future, or should the power be moved more towards the federal government instead of provincial government? Along about those views are more about the partisan line.
I see.
The response, they are generally happy, I think, about how government handle.
But when you say, though, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you here, Haizhen, my apologies, but when you're saying that it's along party lines, so if those who want a larger government, what party line do they identify with?
Those usually are more the left-wing way of voters, and also people who live in big metropolitan areas, the urban centers.
What really intrigued me, though, is that in Saskatchewan, the prairie provinces, there seems to be, according to the survey here put out, and it's a fairly substantial number of people who are actually approve of a greater government role, larger government as far as handling the pandemic than a smaller one. And yet these are coming from conservative area part of the province. So that doesn't seem to jive for what we're seeing nationally.
That's one of the very interesting finding of this survey is people in Alberta and Saskatchewan are generally have a more favorable kind of positive view of how the federal government in particular when for the federal government's handling of the pandemic. So like what you said, those are very conservative voter base, right, in Alberta and Saskatchewan. I think this is this is very interesting finding, probably because they are comparing between different levels of government's response. Or maybe just they start with a kind of a lower starting point, right? Before the pandemic, they have a very low rating of federal government. So remember, pandemic is different. It's a crisis. So this could be kind of a special moment of, about how the way people see the things. It's not a normal time, right?
It certainly isn't, and it's always, it makes for interesting debates and discussions, and this survey has certainly done that. Haizhen, thank you so much for speaking with me, and all the best to you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye. And that's our program for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. By the way, next week, I'll be connecting with a Regina-based filmmaker who has worked with some notable people in the industry, and 2 of his productions will be shown in Regina on June the 24th. I'll be connecting with filmmaker Lee Chambers and his amazing cinematic odyssey. That's next time on In Real Time. We'll see you then.
What? Humanity rests on your shoulders. What could possibly go wrong? Attention. Emergency. Dale, are you there? Dale, are you there? Dale! Dale!
So there it is. That's Hell in a Handbasket. It's a short film that's going to be shown here in Regina, one of 2 short films. The creation of Lee Chambers. Lee, when you look at that, what was going through your mind? It looks very dark to me. What was going through your mind when you were creating that story?
Well, we've all been trying to survive under COVID-19 for the last year, trapped in our home. So I made a film, which technically is you're trapped in your house. I shot it in my garage, and I had another actor from LA who phoned in his performance via an iPhone 12, and it came out rather well, considering.
Oh, it did. It did. So you shot some of that in Regina. Where is that? Those snowy scenes?
You know what? They're just a little off the highway. We didn't ask permission. We just kind of ran in, did some stuff, got some drone shots, and then the rest of it was in the in a garage. But we shot drone material, great drone material for it, but there wasn't a lot of snow. This was like early December, and we thought, well, this will be test footage. We'll come back. We'll shoot it after in January, February when there's a lot of snow. Well, there wasn't. There wasn't enough snow.
That's true.
So I had to do digital work to actually add snow to a Canadian movie. So I had 2 guys in India add snow to a Canadian movie.
So a guy from LA with his fancy iPhone, the drone here in Regina, and 2 people in India. It all came together.
It's an international film.
It's fantastic, though, and it's being recognized, getting great reviews. And you're also showing that and a short film called The Pineville Heist.
It's a feature.
It's a feature, and will be shown at the Moonlight Drive-In in Pilot Butte. We're going to have more about that in a moment. I want, though, to introduce you to people here in Saskatchewan and elsewhere. Give me the 30 or 45-second filmmaking bio of Lee Chambers.
Well, I was born in Ontario, in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and I did graphic design at college. And I wanted to be more creative than just sitting behind a desk all day long. So I have a dual passport with the UK, went to Leeds Metropolitan Film School, which is now Leeds Beckett in England, learned how to be a filmmaker, spent 8 years out of Canada actually being in England, and then took off, and I actually spent some time on the road with some bands, a band called The Fix, touring with them, doing music videos. And so I spent 10 years out of Canada sort of crisscrossing the world, making entertainment. And that's my love, that's my passion.